Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hope you're all having a wonderful Age of Aquarius, because we have transitioned on the 21st, which was 2 days ago, I believe. I don't really know what the date is anymore. Who knows? Apparently Christmas is soon. But yeah, I went down and saw the conjunction down on Odysee Beach in Perth. So I had a look at it live. It was pretty cool. It was a bit too much light pollution, but it was still pretty good. And yeah, so here we are. Got a few photos as well. And I've also, as you can see, I've still got this as a sling. This is my arm. It's still in a cast. The arm's, moving, but the hand's not working properly yet. So that's really annoying. It is, getting there. It's just taking a while. It's my brachioplexus up in my neck and a few things in my back have been tweaked on my nerves. So, but it is coming back. So yeah, I've got, so lots going on. Things were pretty crazy in the last couple of weeks around here. Just, I guess what you could expect at the end of an age. And wasn't it interesting that, that very few people on Earth even realise that we've changed ages. I was down at Odysee Beach and there was probably, maybe 100 people. And this is one of the most popular beaches in Perth. So, there was probably maybe 1,000 people in Perth up on the beaches watching this. So, not a lot. And it's a big change. And I don't know, I guess most people are preoccupied with other things like beer viruses and face nappies and putting themselves in jail. So it's an interesting time we live in. I mean, it has to be, doesn't it? We're going through ages. And this is, the more I think about it, this whole age thing, this whole going from Pisces to Aquarius, going from a water sign. I mean, Pisces was water, so obviously Admiralty law, the whole Phoenician narrative is water. So we're leaving that and going into air or ether, spirit. But the old age, what's happened in the last few hundred years, it seems to all be about hiding the fact that we're going to change age. And what they seem to have done, these archons, is they've tried to just trick us and sort of pretend it doesn't exist and to get our vibration so low that they thought when the transition happened that they could control it or keep us down in a, I don't know, or they could stop it. But I mean, they can't. You can't stop the universe. You can't stop the sky clock. When it chimes, it's going to keep ticking. So these people, they just, as we can see, it's falling apart. They're becoming exposed every day. Everything they do, it just exposes them more. And people are really starting to see it. Obviously, there's so much going on around the world, but especially in the US. Yeah, well, the US is just it's just a circus. And with this new stimulus package, I mean, if that doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will. What is it, $900 billion? And only 180 billion or something goes to the American people. The rest goes offshore and to the elite. So it's pretty, it's just a massive transfer of wealth. This is the great reset that they want, right? This is what they want. They want all the wealth to go to them and for there to be a ruling class and a slave class, and that's what they're pushing for. So yeah, obviously we need to push back, guys. Strange times, but like I said, you can't beat the universe. You can't beat the sky clock. You can't beat God. So this is happening anyway. We're in a new age already, and now it's up to us to really go forward, because it's going to happen anyway. But how fast and how well it happens is up to us, because these parasites don't want to leave. I think there's going to be a point where they can't hang around fairly soon, because we're still, just entered this age. So the vibration's still rising. But as it's rising, as we've seen, it just exposed them. We're really starting to see these archons, these parasites, for what they are. And that's just what they are, parasites. They just want to parasite off us. They want to live off us. They want to suck our life energy. And they do that in so many ways, with the monetary system, with making us have slave jobs and go through their education system and, the spell casting that they teach us, the language that they've destroyed, and, they leave us with not enough words to express ourselves. And that also keeps us in a box. That I've said before, it's all the books we have, all everything, it's written by controllers. It really all is. And that's all we've got to go on, is just looking through and finding the scraps and hoping there was a few people out there leaving clues for us. But yeah, getting back to, they've just been hiding the whole age. All these old books and all these old pictures, they're all about, the sky and astrology and the gods and, people in the clouds and all this stuff. It seems to all be about the ages, and how as above, so below. What happens above in the heavens is what happens below on Earth. So as planets move into a new star sign, that affects energy on Earth. And as the heavens change, the Earth changes. And this is what it's all about. I'm pretty sure this is, the main theme of everything that's been written, that we can find in the last sort of 500 years. It all seems to be about the sky, but of course they're not telling us what they're talking in code, and it's all encoded, so they know what's going on, but we're sort of kept in the dark. They all knew that this transition was happening, this great conjunction and the Age of Aquarius. But they didn't let it out. It definitely wasn't common knowledge, and if it was, they only just said it's just a conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter. Some people sort of on mainstream even said, it's the first in 800 years, but no one mentioned, Kali Yugas or processional cycles, anything like this. It's even, the Mayan long count calendar, 2012, remember that? But then, the calendars are off. Our timelines are off. They change the calendars all the time. So in Ethiopia, it's 2012 this year. And that's because they didn't change their calendar from Julian to Gregorian. I think that's right. So they're on the old calendar. So they're in 2012. So this is the thing. By changing the calendars, is it really 2020 or is it 2012? As far as the long counts from the Mayan. So all these different cycles, did converge a couple of nights ago. And here we are. So yeah, I just wanted to make a bit of a video and say hello. I know I've been a bit quiet lately. Like I said, it's been pretty crazy. Just lots going on. And also I was, for a week or so there, I was very, very introspective. I was just wanted to sort of contemplate that. It was really weird. It was almost like, saying goodbye to the old age, just sort of going over stuff, and I was listening to lots of older music. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know how you went in the last couple of weeks and how the transition was. Did you get out? Did you see the great conjunction? Did you feel anything? Have you felt or seen anything different in the last couple of days? And I hope you're all going to have a good Christmas. I hope you're going to completely disobey all these rules from the archons, I hope you're going to be around the people you want to be around and doing what you want to be doing. Because this whole locking down Christmas, hello, it's communism, is what they're doing. They want to lock away, stop people from having their own beliefs in spirituality, and basically no, you can't have any. And of course there's so much talk about them introducing a new world religion soon, but I don't actually think that's going to happen. I don't know what happened, but it's like they left their run too late, or when they started this run at the start of the year, or in March, what was it, March? Yeah, I don't know, maybe things didn't go as fast as they thought, but, we're already in the new age, so whatever they try now is just not going to work. So they've missed the boat, we have won. So this is all going to go well. So that's the main message I want to say is, it may still be crazy. There's going to be lots of screaming and reeing from you know, the archons. And so there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff, but it's all a show. It's all theatrics. It only exists and affects you if you believe it or if you follow what they say. And it's that whole thing of, you know, it's not, the problem is not the rulers and these archons and these parasites. They're actually not the problem. The problem is everyone who follows their orders, who obeys them. That's the problem. Because if no one obeyed them, what power would they have? And this is, you know, where we are now. This is our way out, is everyone has to just ignore them, laugh at them, and just ignore them and live our lives, and they will fade away because they really will fade away at this point because the energies are going to rise. You know, the Schumann frequency's gone through the roof. You know, so this is our time to build things. Obviously there's lots of, you know, barbarians and, you know, breakaway civilizations, communities being set up. And I think that's good. I'm definitely, you know, obviously there's one south of Perth as well. Perth Tara, we haven't really named it yet. We're still getting that set up. And I think that's definitely a way we need to go. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens in the cities because, I mean, I was in Fremantle yesterday and I was walking through. Now, Fremantle is the port city in Perth. It's an old star city full of old world architecture. Actually, I've got some good photos I will put up as well. I'll show you in this video. But yeah, I was walking through there and all the shops, like seriously, Fremantle used to just be a hub. It's just covered in cafes, specialty shops, all that kind of stuff. And they're all gone. They're all closed down. All the shops are for lease or for sale. And there was no one there. And this was less than a week before Christmas, and it was empty. And like I said, there was no shop. So what's going to happen to these places? Because, you know, there might be an opportunity to start up, to turn all these old, you know, buildings that we use for slave jobs into, you know, something different. So that's something to think about too, because there might be a lot of cheap real estate around in cities and towns and, you know, cheap things to lease. I've actually even just had a quick look just to see what shops and that are going for, because there's so many that are empty that, you know, they've got to be cheap, warehouses and things. So it's a good time, you know, to start businesses, to do that thing you've always wanted to do. And like I said, with things being cheap rent, you know, this is the thing, you know, can you rent shops and warehouses? You know, you can live in the car park, get a van or a caravan, you know, cheap living, start a business with some people, you know, and start turning the cities back into something that they should be. You know, that's another option. Obviously moving onto land where we can grow food is something we need, because the whole food chain needs to change. We need to start eating actual food again, so we need to start growing it. I just watched Martin's video and he had a meme, and a lady was saying, never let your enemies grow your food. And that's so true, because look where we've put ourselves. You know, a lot of people, most people, don't even know where their food comes from. So that's something we definitely need to, you know, focus on. And everywhere too, you know, wherever you're living, if you're in the city or whatever, if you've got a normal house, you can still grow food. Greenhouses, you know, microgreens, which, you know, and you can sell this food too. Can be a way to start a business. This is what I was kind of thinking is, you know, if you could get a cheap shop, you know, you could start growing under lights in there. You could grow microgreens and different foods, mushrooms, and, you know, these businesses aren't that expensive to set up. So that, you know, hydroponic, all these different, you know, things that all these different ways to grow food. You can do them indoors, a lot of them these days, which might be an option for someone, you know, for people out there. If you could get a building and you could have people that were all involved in running a business, well, then, see, this is the thing, we've got to get off the government. We've got to start going forward and getting businesses and our own ideas going and building our own world, because as you can see, what they're doing, what they've done, you know, for years now, but especially this year, you know, closing all the businesses down, that was to get everyone on the dole. That was to get everyone dependent on the government. So then, you know, they have control of how much money you have, where you live, and what you eat. And that's what we need to get away from. That's a trap. That's a bad rabbit hole. So yeah, the first is to get control of our food, and because when you control your food, you can feed yourself. What else do you need? You need shelter, and then you just need other people, really. And then the government doesn't exist. You don't need it. So, you know, if we can get to a point where we're feeding ourselves, plus we're giving other value out to the community that we can trade, then that's all we really need to do. And another thing is free energy. You know, there's so many free energy devices. You know, that's another business there, right? That's something, I mean, it's very frustrating at the moment is, because my arm is, I've only pretty much got one hand that's working properly. So it's very hard for me to make things and build things. I've got all these ideas, I've got all these plans, and I've got all the stuff around me, all the materials, but I'm having a problem getting it together. So I'm going to try and get into that in the new year, get my family involved to be my extra hands. And another thing I did is I bought a bus. Yeah, I've been looking around for a van for a while. As you probably know, the reason my arm is a bit broken is because I drove my last car into a tree. So I've gone out and I was looking for a van and I couldn't find one. I was looking for ages and just couldn't find anything in my price range. And so, because I wanted a high roof, I didn't want a low roof, I wanted something I could stand up in, something that, because I wanted to turn it into a van life mini, what are they called, tiny house. And so I ended up looking at mini buses and coasters, and I found a Toyota Coaster, 1984, and it's awesome, and I bought it. And it needs a coat of paint, it needs a refit. It's got solar panels, it's got the batteries, it's got all power in there, it's got a kitchen with gas and a stove and cookers, water tanks, all that kind of stuff, you know, sinks. So it's got everything I need in there, but it all needs to be remodeled and fixed up. It only had a double bed, which was tiny, so I've ripped that out. See, with one arm, it was really easy to rip out the interior. It's just a bit harder rebuilding it. So that's something that is that's going to be, obviously I'll want to use it to go and travel a bit as well when the world stops being so crazy. But that's also, you know, because now I can go and live on land in that. That's my house done, and I can live in that while I build something, you know, more substantial, and while we're getting other things set up. And I know a few other people have gone out and bought caravans and vans. So that's, you know, that's another good thing, even if you just want to travel, you know. But if you're renting or whatever, or even if you're buying and it's expensive, it might be a cheap option, because, you know, a lot of us aren't working jobs anymore. And so why do you need to be in a house that's, you know, guzzling energy and costing lots of money? This is the thing. Or can you turn that house into a business where you can produce from it? And I think this is where we need to go. We've really just got to start thinking about how can we, first of all, support ourselves away from the government, and second, how do we produce value and give value back out to the community? Because that's all we need to do. If everyone's supporting themselves and then creating value, creating whatever it is, a surplus of food or, you know, tech or clothes or whatever, that they can trade, then that's really all we need. This is what we had, and it all got stuffed up by, you know, maritime trade law. And they jumped in and put all their taxes and tariffs and everything on there. Because once you get away from the government, you're not paying all their bills and all their taxes and stuff. It's not that expensive to live. You don't need that much. I think the figures are like 70, 80% of our income just goes straight back to the government. You know, so if that's all gone and you're feeding yourself with, you know, most of your food's been grown, then you don't need a lot, you know, to live a good life. You know, and we're talking, you can do this in 20 hours a week. It's not like a slave job. So, I just sort of wanted to get out there that, you know, things have changed, guys. That we're in a new age, and the more we act like it, the faster that will come into fruition. Like I said, it's going to happen anyway, but we are the creators. You know, whatever we believe, whatever we create, whatever we see and work towards is what happens. You know, our thoughts, whatever we put out comes back to us. So if we put out, you know, the good thoughts now and the more powerful energy now, then it will happen faster. We can get through this pretty quick. But we've just got to take initiative, you know, focus on what we want and then put that into action as much as we can. Also, you know, we need to start to rely on each other again, which is another thing. You know, obviously the divide and conquer, and they've been trying to break up the family and all this stuff, and people are sitting in front of screens all day. So we really need to get back to the community where we're helping each other, because to get together we're powerful. It's like, you know, so it's like when you get the power of one mind, if you double that into if you get two people, you actually get more power than those two combined. You end up with like three. So the more people that are involved in things, the more minds, the more you can solve problems. And this is another thing they did. Everyone who was out there solving problems, they just went in and basically threatened them, bought their plans off them, and then hid them away. And if these people didn't sell, they ended up dead. And there's a trail of them all through history. So, you know, but this is all gone. And we need to just, you know, reject all that stuff and just say, no, we're humans. This is what we want. And this is it, guys. We need to build the new world now for ourselves, for our children and future generations, because, you know, this is pretty much what we're put here to do, I think. And I think a lot of us feel this and know this, that this is the time that we all need to stand up and start, you know, acting the way, because we've all been studying this stuff and trying to get the message out for so long against brick walls. But now this year, everyone's starting to listen. So we really need to stand up and be the ones to sort of show people the way to go, to show people that the power's in us and we get to create this world. And no longer does the government and the parasitic rulers have any say over it. You know, they're gone, they're done. Give them no more power, because as we know, you know, where attention goes, energy flows. So the more we focus on things, the more we empower them. So we can either empower what we want, the future, build that, you know, that dream, that vision in our mind and then act on it, or we can sit there in fear. And all fear is still visualizing. It's just visualizing what you don't want. When you go through all those movies in your mind of how bad things will be, yeah, that's just visualizing what you don't want. So that's bringing to you what you don't want. And this whole vaccine thing, you know, a lot of people are very scared of this whole vaccine thing. And what I would say is, if it's not happening to you, it's not true. You know, if you're going to focus on it, then you're going to draw it towards you. Now, people can be scared, but literally nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. So there's nothing to be scared about. And also, you can't do anything. You can't run. You know, there's no fight or flight that you can do about this whole vaccine jab until someone's holding your arm and the needle's right there. Then is the time for fight or flight. But until then, all you're doing is creating fear and you know, stressing yourself out if you're worrying about things like the jab. Because it's, like I said, it doesn't exist unless you believe it exists. And the more thought you give it, the more real you make it, and the more you draw it towards you. So all of this stuff, you know, mask lockdown, it doesn't exist unless you want it to. You know, even with masks, and people say, well, you have to wear them, you have to wear them. Well, do you? Have you gone out without one and just said, I'm not wearing one? I mean, obviously, you know, you need to be careful. I know a lot of places have police that are going berserk and that. But the more people do this, the more, you know, people are going to look and say, oh, well, do I have to wear a mask? You know, because we probably all saw that video of that poor girl who was so brainwashed. She was taking a dog for a walk and it did a poop and she had nothing to pick it up. So she took her mask off, picked the poop up, threw it in the bin, and then put the mask back on. Now this is how brainwashed people are. So we need to sort of start showing people you don't need to do this. And of course there's a big anti-mask movement, you know, happening. And we just need to make fun of this stuff, guys, because it is a joke. None of the people that are telling us to do this aren't following their own rules. So we know it's just a joke. It's just theatre. Don't. The only energy that you should be giving it is laughing at it and just treating it for what it is, just ridiculousness. By pathetic little parasites. They got nothing, you know, they got nothing. Their time of fear and hate is over. It's now the time for heart-centered, guys. It really is. Time for truth, time for us to talk our own truth, speak our own truth. Even if your voice shakes, it really is time for us to move forward. And I've been jabbering a bit here, haven't I? I just sort of wanted to come on and say, hello, because I have been a bit quiet, and also happy Age of Aquarius, and things are changing, guys, and it really is up to us. Intention now and our ability to create is being amped right up, so we can create a lot faster now. So it really is time to focus on what we want. Look at options. If you're not sure what you want, a lot of people don't know which direction to step in. I would say just step in a direction that feels good. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we all have choice. If you can change your mind, you can do something different if it's not exactly what you want. But the main thing is to get into action, because it's better to get into action doing something that's not perfect and then finding out that that's not where you should be, than to do nothing, because at least you're learning and moving forward. So yeah, I know a lot of us have spent a lot of time inside in front of computers and all this kind of stuff in the last few months, but I think it's time to now go outside, rub the eyes, see the sun, and just start appreciating the world and start creating what we want. Because the time is now, guys, and now is Aquarius. Back in an ether sign and away from the water. So maritime is dead and spirit is rising. So there you go. I think I'll leave it there. I think I've just been rambling. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Hope you all have an awesome Christmas. And again, I hope you all disobey every rule you possibly can and just do it your way. Because, we're the creators, guys. These guys don't get to make the rules unless we give them that permission. So Merry Christmas, Happy Age of Aquarius. Thanks for spending some time with me. I have got some more videos I'm working on, so I'll get some more uploads up soon on history. And yeah, have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.